Hey, this is Ralph, and in this video I want to go over the pseudo elements first child and first letter so that you can format them and create a drop cap effect. So let's check this out here. I've got a web page set up and there's really nothing on it so far. I've got a few basic internal styles, got a body and headline 1 here. Let's go ahead and create a couple things. I'm going to start off here and I'm going to create a set of article tags. And let's see, within that let's go ahead and put a few paragraphs. And within my paragraphs, I'm just going to put in some random lorem text, lorem ipsum text. And I'm going to do this a couple extra times. So if I were to save this and go back over to my browser, there we go. So I've got a few paragraphs on there. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of CSS formatting. You notice I don't have any spaces in between these paragraphs. That's because I already do have a reset rule getting rid of default margins and paddings. So let's go ahead and take care of a couple of basics, and I'll set some margin bottom for all of my paragraphs to about 10 points, about a font size. And in fact, while I'm here, speaking of font size, let's go ahead and do a font size 90% just to make that a shade smaller. So now if I go back, I can see I've got a little bit of spacing between my paragraphs. So let's go ahead and get into these pseudo classes. And the first one I'll show you. In fact, it'll be easy to do them both. But let's go ahead and start off with paragraph first letter. So I'm writing this. I'm doing the P selector, and then I'm using a pseudo class element, first letter. So the first letter of the paragraph. And just so that we can see some stuff happening, I'll go ahead and change the color to a dark red. Let's see, let's get my indentation. Font weight bold. And let's go ahead and take care of font size. I'll do 200%. And let's see how that looks, just so you can kind of get a feel for what's happening. And now we can see that the first letter of each paragraph is red, bold, and about 200% of the default font size. So already we can see our first letter in action. So there we go. Now to kind of give it a drop cap effect, we can just go ahead and do a float left on there. And as soon as I do that float left, there we go. We got our text wrapping around it. Now just for a little bit of cleanup, I'm going to go ahead and put in some padding right of about 4 pixels. This way, our text isn't butting up right up next. And there's our word wrap, our drop cap effect using a kind of a word wrap effect. Now I don't want this to apply to every paragraph though. That would be annoying to the reader. I only want it to apply to the very first paragraph in my article. So in addition to doing paragraph first letter, I'm going to put paragraph first child. And in front of my paragraph selector, I'm going to put my article selector. I don't want to confuse this with paragraphs on different parts of the web page. So what I've got now is within an article, the very first paragraph and the first letter within that first paragraph will have these characteristics. So if I save that, head back over to my previewer, there we go. Now only the first letter in the first paragraph has that effect. So you'll see in the review of the browsers here, in Firefox we are getting this one little effect where the drop cap letter is a little bit higher than in Chrome and in IE. So let's solve that real quick with a little CSS hack. And right here on my CSS file, I'll go ahead and create a section. This will be for Firefox only. So there's just a little CSS comment. And within this, I'm going to go ahead and do @mozdocument URL prefix. And this gets its own set of curly braces. And basically, any CSS rules that I put within this section will be for Firefox only. So I could go ahead and, let me just do a little copy paste here. I'll go ahead and take this great selector of article first child first letter, pop that right in there, And before I forget, let's go ahead and get the closing curly brace for that. And for this, I'm going to do a padding top of about, let's try 6 pixels, because I want to put a little more padding on the top letter on Firefox only. So I'll go ahead and save this, and let's look at my 3 browsers real quick. Of course, we shouldn't see any change with IE. There shouldn't be any change with Chrome. But now when I go to Firefox and refresh, it's pushed down a little bit more, so we get some consistency amongst the 3 browsers.